Hey, this is Jarek, and I'm going to show you how to install an Oggie grip. Joe over at Oggie has sent me a Pro Stock custom grip to review and asked me to show some tips on how to shim this. So what I've got here is I've got a stick that's been cut down. It's about an inch below my chin. Uh, how I measured it to cut it down is I held the grip next to the stick at length until I got it to where I wanted it. You can't quite see it, but it's just above my nose and bare feet. So you chop it off there. You just do it with a hacksaw and a miter box. And the next step is to install the grip itself. And my philosophy on this is that you don't use any glue. The glue is going to come loose. It's going to crack. It's not a very good way to hold something. So what you want to do is actually shim it with tape and then heat up the shaft itself with the heat gun so that it expands. Slip it in there, and then once it cools down, it'll lock it into place. And I haven't used glue on anything. I've been swapping out blades and plugs for the last couple of years without glue, and never once had a problem. Once you shim it up properly. So I'm just going to show you real quick what I've got here is just heat gun from Home Depot, 25 bucks. A roll of regular cloth tape. So I apologize in advance if I start coughing or anything. I'm fighting a cold here. But right now, this is just a stock Reebok 8K tapered shaft, senior shaft, and the Oggie grips are a little bit undersized in terms of the tenon. So it slides in pretty easily. The shaft hasn't been heated up at all, and it's got some play. So what I do is I start shimming up the sides of it. You can see, well, maybe not see here, but it's got play both this way and this way. So it's going to need tape on all four corners. So what I do is I just take some tape here. It helps to have a scissors that works properly. And you just lay it right on the tenon itself. And I fold it over so that it gets both sides of it, speeds things up. And then when you're installing it down like this, I like to fold it over so that it doesn't pull up. Otherwise the tape will just come right off. So I've got one layer, put it in, it's still loose. So I'm going to put another layer on here. It's two layers, and it's starting to actually not slide so much back and forth, but once you start flexing the stick and pulling back with your upper hand, it is going to come loose. So I'm going to put one more layer on there. And now it's getting to be a pretty tight fit. I might actually end up needing to put another layer after I get out on the ice, but I'll test that out. Now the next thing, since it had some play this way, and it still does, I found a really good way to shim it on that side is to take a piece of tape and to actually rip it in half this way. So what you end up doing is shimming on, I'll show you here, shim it on the side. Like that. So now all four edges here are adding some thickness. Now there are going to be some sticks out there, the really high-end performance sticks have such thin walls that I'm not sure if you can shim them to thickness. I know I had a 10K Reebok stick that the walls were so thin that it would have been impossible to shim it. Either that or it would have had so many layers of tape that might have affected the feel. But luckily, I don't have that much money, so I don't run into that problem of having too high end of a stick. Although I also use intermediate flex sticks, and I might show in another video, or else just take my word for it. I've got a Bauer Vapor Intermediate right now, an X60, and it requires about only one side of a piece of tape worth. So here there's still just a little bit of play. I'm going to put one more strip on there just because I've had the plug pull out slightly while playing, and it's really a distraction. And you're nervous when you're shooting and stick handling. Alright, so you can see it's an okay job here that this now has plenty of thickness, and this cloth tape, it'll compress slightly once it's put in there, but it'll hold it really firm. You don't need to put any glue or anything on there. It's going to hold pretty steady. So now I take the heat gun, and I'm just going to heat up the shaft just a little bit here. You don't need to overdo it. Just a little bit works. Okay, so the shaft is heated up now, and where there's a snug fit before, it slides in pretty well, and now you just let it cool. It'll take about 10 minutes to cool itself down there, so you're not cracking it or anything. But there it is. Now there's no play. If there's you see anything, it's just the wiggling of the stick here, but that's how you install it. And it works for blades too, or regular end plugs. If there's a little bit of play, just shim it up with tape. Check to see which way it's shimming. Try that half strip of tape if it's shimming on the skinny end there. But that's it. And as for the grips themselves, I've been using them for the last 4 to 6 weeks. I played a tournament with it. They're really, really slick. They do add just a little bit of kick. I don't know if they changed the kick point of the stick itself, but you can feel your top hand, instead of really feeling all the loading at the bottom part of the stick, you start to feel it up near the top too, between your top hands, and that's where you're getting that push-pull. You really feel like you can get a lot more out of that pull and not just the push. So for people like myself, I'm pretty short, I'm only 5'8". Even an intermediate stick, I'm going to cut it down a few inches. I won't say that it is a substitute for picking the proper flex right off the bat, but if you have a flex that you like and you cut it down 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, it's going to bring back some of that flex. And if you're using the correct flex to begin with, it really, really just kicks it up a notch. The 75 flex intermediate stick that I've got right now, it just feels fantastic with it. So, and I just got another one in the mail. It's a little bit of a stiffer. This is a little bit of a spongy grip. This other one I'm going to try here is a little bit of a stiffer grip, so I'll see how that goes. But hopefully this helped you out, and if you got any questions, just let me know. Thanks.